All right, today we are diving deep into the microscopic world of metallurgy. We're going to find out how a seemingly simple piece of aluminum gets transformed into a super high-strength material, and it all comes down to a very precise process of heat and time, a kind of art, really, known as precipitation hardening.
But let's start with a mystery. Picture this, a critical component made from a special aluminum alloy that's been treated to its absolute maximum strength just fails, out of nowhere. Now, this is not supposed to happen. So what on earth went wrong? To figure it out, we're going to have to become material detectives.
First things first, we need to know what this T6 temper thing is all about. Think of it as the gold standard for high-strength aluminum. You know, the stuff you find in aircraft or high-performance cars. It's a two-part process. You solution heat treat it, and then you artificially age it. The whole point of the T6 temper is to push that metal to its absolute peak performance, which honestly just makes our failure even more confusing.
So to crack this case, we've got to understand the recipe. How is that strength built in the first place? It's kind of like baking, you know? If you mess up any single step, the ingredients, the oven temperature, the timing, the whole thing can be a disaster. Well, it's the exact same story with metallurgy.
And that recipe has three absolutely critical steps. Step 1, solution treatment. Step 2, quenching. And Step 3, aging. Each one of these sets the stage for the next, building strength right down at the atomic level. Let's break them down one by one.
First up, solution treatment. We crank up the heat. As this diagram shows, we take the alloy to a really high temperature. And at that heat, all the extra alloying elements, in this case it's copper, they just dissolve completely into the aluminum. It's just like stirring sugar into hot coffee. The goal here is to create a perfectly uniform atomic soup. Next, step 2, quenching. We take that fiery hot, perfectly mixed alloy and plunge it into water, cooling it down incredibly fast. This is the critical move. That sudden temperature drop freezes everything in place. It doesn't give those copper atoms any time to escape. Instead, they get trapped inside the aluminum's crystal structure. This creates something called a supersaturated solid solution, basically an unstable, supercharged state that's holding way more copper than it ever should at room temperature.
And that brings us to the final, and I'd argue the most important step, aging. Now we take our supersaturated alloy and we gently reheat it, but to a much, much lower temperature. This isn't about dissolving anymore, this is all about control. This gentle heat gives those trapped copper atoms just enough energy to start moving around, but only a tiny bit. They start to cluster together, forming these incredibly small, perfectly structured particles right inside the aluminum. This is where the strength is actually born.
So what's actually happening inside the metal during aging? Well, it's this fascinating microscopic transformation. As you can see here, the atoms go through several different stages. They start out by forming these things called GP zones, then they evolve through a whole series of structures. Don't worry about the crazy names for now, we'll get to them, until they reach their final stable form. Every single stage in this sequence dramatically changes the alloy's final strength. The very first things that pop up are called Guinier-Preston zones, or GP zones for short. They're just tiny, disc-shaped clusters of copper atoms. But here's the crucial part, something called coherency. All that means is that their atomic structure is perfectly aligned with the aluminum structure around them. But since the copper atoms are a different size, these little zones pull and twist the aluminum lattice, creating a huge amount of localized tension or strain.
And this slide, wow, this shows you perfectly why that strain is so important. Look at the image on the left. That's a coherent precipitate. See how it's warping and distorting that nice, neat atomic grid around it? That distortion acts like a microscopic roadblock. So when the material is under stress, tiny defects called dislocations try to move through it, but they get blocked by these strained areas. That makes the material way, way stronger. Now compare that to the one on the right. That's an incoherent precipitate. It doesn't strain the lattice at all, so the dislocations can just flow right around it. No strain, no strength.
This table pretty much tells the whole story. We start at the top with the fully coherent structures, the GP zones, and something called theta double prime precipitates. These are our heavy hitters, the things that create the most strength. But if we keep cooking the alloy, they start to evolve. They become semi-coherent and then finally completely incoherent. You can see the direct link, right? As we lose coherency, we lose strength.
And this brings us right back to our T6 temper. The whole point of the T6 process is to stop the aging right at the perfect moment. We call it the peak age state. It's that sweet spot where you have the maximum number of those super effective coherent theta double prime precipitates,
just before they start to change into the weaker stuff. It's an incredibly delicate balancing act of time and temperature.
Okay, so if our T6 alloy failed, it means the recipe went wrong in that final aging step, and that leaves us with two main suspects. Suspect number one is underaging. This is what happens if you don't cook it long enough. You'll get some good precipitates, sure, but you haven't hit that peak strength yet. There's still potential left on the table. But then there's the second, and I'd say more sinister suspect, overaging. This is what happens if you go too long or the temperature is too high. You blow right past the peak, and all those strong, coherent particles transform into large, weak, incoherent ones. The strength you worked so hard to build literally starts to melt away.
So which one is it? Let's think this through. A part that was engineered for peak strength, it wouldn't fail because it wasn't strong enough yet, right? No. It would fail because the strength it was supposed to have had somehow disappeared. And the verdict is overaging. The alloy was cooked for too long. By holding it at that aging temperature past the perfect peak point, the entire internal strengthening architecture was compromised. Those beautiful, coherent structures that acted as perfect roadblocks, they dissolved and reformed into big, clunky, incoherent particles that the dislocations can just easily go around. The material got soft, it got weak, and that led directly to a catastrophic failure.
And this really leaves us with a crucial takeaway. Strength in these advanced materials isn't just some permanent property. It's a meticulously constructed and, honestly, a fragile microscopic state. It's a powerful reminder that in the world of material science, the real art isn't just knowing how to build strength, but knowing precisely when to stop.